I can remember walking into my classroom as a new teacher and there was nothing. I had some desks, I had a couple of chairs and tables, but I had no supplies. But what if I didn't even walk into that classroom? What if the students that I was there to serve didn't have a teacher? We're going to talk about staff shortages today on the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Witcher, and I'm excited to have with me Jaime from BlazerWorks, which you may not have heard of, but I can't wait for you to find out what is happening when it comes to teacher shortages, what some of the solutions could be. And parents and teachers, this is for both of you because we all need to know about the solutions. So Jaime, welcome to our podcast episode here where we're going to get real. We're going to get real about what's going on in special education.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me. Excited to get real and really dive into it and talk about what we're seeing. And don't worry if you've never heard of BlazerWorks, I hadn't either. So here we are, hopefully get an opportunity to talk a little bit about that as well. And just excited to get this opportunity.
Yeah. So tell us, before we hop into the conversation, I know that you have seen the IEP process from a lot of different angles. So just share with everybody, where are you coming from when it comes to, your perspective?
Sure. So currently in my role now as director at BlazerWorks, I'm not sitting at the IEP table anymore, but I'm supporting thousands of educators across the country that are doing that. And quick history, I started as a special education teacher, and I believe it was my third or fourth day on the job, I got to run my first IEP meeting. So over 20 years, I've been a special education teacher, coordinator, then got into the administrative ranks, serving as building level administrator. And then before jumping over to BlazerWorks, I was a special education director. So I've worn multiple hats at the IEP table. And so seen a lot over the years.
Yeah. So I'm just going to call it out. You've been in the hot seat a lot for staff shortages, whether it was from an educator standpoint where you're kind of in the trenches. I'm sure just struggling in that. But um, from that special ed director standpoint, you get blamed for a lot of things when it comes to staffing. So can you just share some of that experience of what have you seen? Because I know that we have teachers that are thinking it's got to be better in another district. Like the grass is greener over there. And I'm always like, ooh, beware, beware. And parents who are saying, like, my district is not doing enough. They have these open positions and that's not good enough. My child needs an education. And I understand that perspective too.
Certainly. Yes, it is difficult and something that I learned on the job and that I would share with other administrators. Transparency and honesty and vulnerability are going to be your best friends. And so owning it in advance, sending letters, emails, phone calls to parents when you don't have an educational professional lined up to serve their child. It's hard to do. Those aren't always fun conversations, but it's much better to do that ahead than wait until a week later when they realize it anyway. And then they've said, why didn't you let me know? So it is difficult. I believe strongly that we all do bear some responsibility for turning this critical education shortage around. And so just having those candid conversations with all stakeholders, most importantly, probably the parents,
Mm-hmm.
and letting them know that the district is trying, the district is actively recruiting, reaching out to local colleges and universities, trying to get people that are interested in second careers. So, I could go on about that for hours. That's my passion area. Just to summarize, though, really being transparent with everybody that there are vacancies, you're not fully staffed, and sharing what efforts you are doing to try to become fully staffed.
Yeah. So let's talk about this trend in special education. So I was sitting at a Master IEP Coach retreat. So that's something that we host where I bring parents, teachers, admins, and therapists, and we work on IEP leadership in these small mastermind groups. And I had a group of teachers come in from, I can't remember what state, but their school district was near a university that had a teacher program, and they have always filled positions kind of easily, right, from this teacher program. And it was just it just made sense, that get your teacher certification, go teach in a nearby district, get your feet kind of wet in the field. they are struggling because not only is that teacher program not being filled up, not enough people going into education, but the ones who are coming into education don't want to be teachers after they kind of figure out what's going on. So we're kind of seeing these switch of like, not really what I want to do. Like, thanks for showing me this, but I can now take my education degree and go use it elsewhere. So now that university is going to be shutting down their program because it's not effective. So there's this like just this tornado that just keeps on cycling of the whole like they don't even have and they're right next to that program. Are you seeing that trend across the country?
Yes, without a doubt, that trend holds steady regardless of the area of the country. It's the unfortunate reality of where we are right now. And so, what you see a lot of are what I would call the 3-year emergency plans to try to address the shortage now. And then the more longitudinal strategies to really try to increase the pipeline. But yes, you're exactly right. Longstanding state schools that got their start as teacher colleges are now either shutting down their teacher preparation programs or are being forced to combine with other state schools to combine their programs just so they can stay afloat and keep their doors open. Because, like it or not, higher education is also a business and they need to bring in the revenue. And so, if students aren't interested, then they can't continue to just keep those programs open if there's no interest in obtaining those degrees.
So this 3-year emergency plan, that's the first time that I've heard that term. I'm not behind the scenes when it comes to figuring out this problem. I'm typically working out in front with teachers who are dealing with this, so I'm helping them become more effective in their IEP leadership even though there's staff shortages, or I'm working with coaching parents on how do we deal with this and make sure that your child's still getting an appropriate education. So this 3-year emergency, staffing plan that you're talking about, or this longer term, I'm assuming BlazerWorks has, something to do with that. Like that just kind of, rolled out for you. You were like, here's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. What is that?
So, first, and just to be clear, that's something that I coined myself just in scouring the research,
Sure.
both peer reviewed and also just anecdotal from local news stations and state departments of education across the country. So, the 3-year is emergency certification, alternative licensure. So you're pulling people that have a bachelor's degree in something outside of education, and you're giving them a quick pathway to get licensed so that they can be in front of students in a much shorter time period than a traditional teacher preparation program would be. Now, we can debate that, and that could be a whole different show topic, but that is addressing the need short term. So you're getting people that have a bachelor's degree, of course, can pass a background check. They get enrolled in local community college to take some pedagogy courses, some educational philosophy courses, and then you hope that the district in turn also has pretty significant mentorship programs to help them. Because as we both know, being former teachers, even with a traditional preparation program, boy, is it still eye-opening when you walk into the classroom.
No,
So,
we're doing. Let's just call ourselves. We had no idea.
no idea, no
None.
idea.
Right.
I
We had
walked in
you're the
thinking I
school.
knew yeah, exactly, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Right. Yeah, we had
So,
no idea, and I can, when you mentioned emergency certification and this quicker pathway, I can absolutely just picture the mom or the teacher that's driving, like going to the Starbucks drive-through right now that heard that and they're like, "Yeah, my district's doing it. It's not good enough. Well, this is
yeah,
ridiculous." And they're having this internal rant, and I know that because I hear it externally from them when I have the conversations. So just tell me a little bit more about where does BlazerWorks fit into this, short term and long term kind of plan of we got to do something.
sure. So, on the short-term plan, we partner with school districts all across the United States, and part of our mission is to really improve retention. And so when you get these teachers that are brand new to the profession, whether they did come from a traditional ed preparation program or their alternative licensure, we have a team of dedicated special education professionals that are put in place to mentor, coach them, to fill in the gaps basically build on what the school district where they're employed can provide, and then fill in those missing pieces with ongoing support in hopes that they will come back for year 2, year 3, year 5, year 10. So that's the way that we're really trying to help with those new to the profession teachers. On the longer scope, trying to really increase the teacher pipeline, we are doing everything from getting in front of high school students, from talking to colleges and universities, finding out what their pipeline looks like, trying to help them with recruitment efforts. Because as we've seen, again, colleges don't have infinite resources to go out and try to get high school students to enter the education profession. So using that same kind of theme that we're doing with new teachers, we meet colleges and universities where they are, find out what they're doing, and see if we can help out. And so, really, also just trying to build a team of advocates across the country that are really passionate about education. And as cliche as it may sound, really taking a grassroots approach, talking to other people about the value and pride in working in education, speaking about the good news in education. I started probably 6 months ago a weekly series on LinkedIn, Feel Good Friday, just try to put good at news about the education world out there, because we know that the media is gravitating towards stuff that will grasp headlines. So
Yes.
yes, the teacher shortage is critical and it does need to be reported on. However, the teachers that are in the classrooms are doing amazing work, and we need to showcase that and highlight that, because prospective teachers want to see the good that's happening in schools as well. So we're taking a multimodal approach to really try to help out now, but also do our part to increase that pipeline so more young adults are considering a career in education.
Oh, that just feels so hopeful. So one thing that I'm kind of known for, I sign all my emails. When I send out an email, to everybody who I'm communicating IEP strategies with, I always sign it with hope and determination always. And in that hope and determination, I mean it. Like, we have to be determined that we're going to get things to the next level, but we have to have some hope in that too. And we have to show that there is joy in education, even when we feel so defeated of what's going on. So I love that approach that BlazerWorks has of, it's not just about focusing on this is so bad, we need to fix it. It's that, and there's so much good. So we need more participation from others to make this work. So that is just it's a beautiful strategy to bring together. And I want to encourage, especially our parents who are listening right here, if you in your role, you've been thinking as a parent, like, my child has a new special education teacher every year, and there's always vacancies, and there's never enough. And this is where you say to your, administrator, and you say, hey, I listened to this podcast, and there's this thing called BlazerWorks, and I have no idea if it would be a good resource for you, but here it is. And you just pass it on. We need parents to be that grassroots of, I found a solution. And that's one of the things that I love to do here on the podcast is say, here's a solution. It may or may not be right for you, but if you didn't know about it and this might fit your need, just go talk about it. Same thing as a teacher. You might be able to say, like, hey, now as an admin, tell me, how would you feel if a teacher came to you and gave that same kind of like, I know you're struggling. I saw this resource, but because so many teachers would be afraid to say that to their admin. You've been an admin. Tell me how that would go over with you.
Personally, I would love it. Uh, it's been a theme of mine throughout my career. It took a lot of work to be open and transparent, but as an administrator, I was always clear with the staff that I was supporting. Yes, I have my administrative credentials. Yes, I'm well versed in special education. I'm not an expert in anything, and I can't do this alone. So please bring all ideas to me, suggestions. As the building leader, I can't guarantee that they will all be a viable solution for our school or that we'll be able to implement them, but I don't want anyone to ever sit on an idea and not share it out. So I can only speak for myself, but I will tell you, in working with building leaders across the country, they are yearning for more ability to collaborate with others. They are yearning for the ability to implement new ideas and really be able to take back that title that so many people get into administration for, and that's being an instructional leader. Actually being able to spend time with their teachers, coaching, talking about what's working, what's not working, not in a punitive manner, in a hey, let's coach, let's see where you are and see if we can get you to the next level with my help, my support, but also your peers and colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk about it all the time. So obviously our training programs are called Master IEP Coach. It's teaching people to coach others into leadership roles. And, teachers can be leaders, right? Paraprofessionals can be leaders. Parents can be leaders. Admin can be leaders. But we have to give the strategies from experience and from other experts. Because I always say, I will never know everything in special education that there is to know. Anybody who says that they know everything about special education, and that's not true.
No.
Like, there's no way to know all of the things. But we talk about in our Master IP Coach community that, when you earn a certificate from us, you're learning to be the idea bringer, solution finder, and team builder. And that means that you have to bring ideas like BlazerWorks to, even if it's not right, it's like, gosh, throw some spaghetti at the wall sometimes and see what sticks. Like sometimes you just have to toss out all the ideas and not be afraid about somebody coming back and saying, like, well, that wasn't a good idea, or I'm not open to that idea right now, or you have no idea. You know what? You tried. And that's what we need more in our special education community is I know everybody's trying, but we have to try new things. We have to bring new ideas to the table. Jamie, will you give us some words of encouragement as we're going into this school year? And who knows, somebody could be listening to this in, December. But just I always feel like there's a lot of New Year's, right? We have like we'll start the actual calendar year, we have the school year, we have the annual IEP that feels like another fresh start. We have a lot of opportunities for fresh starts inside of our IEP community. From your perspective, again, with everything that's happening, with the staff shortages, with the all of the stress that is going on, what are your words of wisdom for our parents and teachers who are just trying to get it done and do it better than it has been done?
Yeah, it is great, and you're spot on with the multiple seasons in a school year, but this is back to school season. Some of our places in the Southwest and Southeast have already started. A lot are starting soon. My word that I'll repeat over and over again is communicate, communicate, communicate. Regardless of whether you're a parent of a child or children with disabilities, you're a teacher, paraprofessional, any role. What I've seen both professionally and personally, if we hold on to our concerns, if we hold on to our constructive criticism and we don't share those, then that turns into resentment. And then when it is time to communicate, we're communicating from a place of anger. And just like we teach our children that are struggling with executive functioning and behavioral issues, if you've got two people that are in the red and they're angry, you're not going to get a whole lot accomplished. And so if we can communicate right out of the gate, if you're the parent of a student with a disability, communicating to that teacher and the rest of the IEP team what your hopes and dreams and goals are for your child for that school year out of the gate. Don't wait until the annual IEP review. If you're a teacher, communicate with all of your families. What are your goals, hopes, and dreams for what your classroom environment will look like? How are you going to make sure that it's inclusive for all? If you're a building level principal, what are your school wide goals and hopes? So, as you can tell, I'm repetitive, but I am a huge proponent of communication. And it's not always going to be happy. It's going to be stressful. It's tough for every stakeholder, the children, the parents, every provider in a school district. So the more you can talk about it and work collaboratively and collectively to come up with solutions, I think that we're all going to be better off so that we're not waiting until we're at that boiling point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to encourage everybody, do that communication. And if you're hearing that voice in your head that's saying, oh, I tried that, but it doesn't work, don't stop trying. You will find somebody to listen to you. Maybe you need to communicate differently. Maybe it's a phone call versus an email. Maybe it's a letter versus a, whatever, besides for that email. Maybe it's something handwritten, old fashioned kind of thing. You can do this. do not give up. Be relentless in your communication because people are out there willing to listen. You just need to find the mode that you need to use and the people that you need to connect with. So, Jamie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And I wish everybody listening a wonderful school year. And thanks for all that you do for our kids. And if you're a parent, thank you for everything you're doing. You are the most important advocate your child will have.
Oh, I love that. On that note, everybody knows all the links to find BlazerWorks, all the links of some free Master IP Coach resources. All of those things will be right there for you. And we'll see you guys next time.